Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Natsu Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Gachiakuta Season 1, Episode 19. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So first and foremost, we're picking up where the last episode left off with Zodo putting Amo's boot on what is essentially a heart, and we find out that basically the thing they're in, we're thinking the entire time maybe they're underground or something. Actually, they're inside a giant trash beast because Zodio, and he talked about this. We're kind of picking up with those lines of dialogue last episode where he talks about he tried to make his own Watchmen series, and we kind of learn a lot more about the Watchmen series of vital instruments in this, that apparently they've existed for a very, very long time. They are very powerful items, and they all belong to one person. Not just that one person made them, but I guess they were literally special items to this one person, which begs the question, like, and it's something Zodo asks, is like, what kind of life did you have to lead for you to have literally boots, gloves, and a coat all be like these powerful vital instruments? What set them apart from all these other vital instruments, and why are they so powerful? That's why Zodo needs them. You even have Rudo asking a question I think I asked last episode too. How many are left? I mean, it was like, well, item of clothing is still a shirt, but that might count as part of the jacket, and pants. So I'm like, and there might also be accessories. Who knows? But like, is it just going to be a 3-piece set, or is there something more? So that is interesting, because I mean, I'm making it seem like, oh, these are clothes. I mean, there's no guarantee that the other items aren't other things. Like, because the question has come up too, I think specifically they asked this on Otaku Anonymous, has anyone had a weapon that became like a vital instrument? Like, I mean, his weapon wasn't really even initially a weapon, but like Zonka's staff, it's like, it's just a regular stick that became like a battle staff, but and then Rio's scissors are, they're technically weapons, but they become even bigger. So like, what about, like, could there be an actual weapon like a sword or a anything? Could a weapon actually be part of the series too? Or like I said, is it just going to be these three? Still unclear on that front, but Zodiel. And this also ties back into what I kind of theorized with the whole, oh, we're going to be feeding you guys the trash beast, which I was like, oh, right, we never did circle back to that trash beast that they killed back in episode 4, which had what appeared to be a vital instrument at its core. So it seems like Zoro's been the one who's been manufacturing that whole situation. So we never even got clarification on how many are running rampant. So we have this one, which is a very special case. This one seems to be the biggest special case, because Zodo even said that they've been feeding vital instruments to it to make it even stronger. So, but these have all been experiments, but it brings up larger questions too. I'm like, how do you even begin knowing how to attempt to make watch series? Because he stumbled across making these trash beasts, these special trash beasts. There's the natural born trash beasts that come about because of just the natural environment of what the ground is, but like he accidentally made like artificial trash beasts while trying to make entries into the Watchmen series. So it's like, how did you even begin knowing how to like do that? And it's like, well, and is this a super? You'd assume it has to be a super recent development, because it's like this. Because I think this all ties back into the angels that Amo was aware of, because Rudo this entire time, thinking about the Watchmen series and how special they are, and it started making him wonder, well, I got these from Recto, like, but where the hell did Recto get these gloves? It's like, right, I lived on the spear. I didn't know anything about vital instruments, yet I somehow got my hands on not only just some regular vital instruments, like I happen to have the powers of a giver, and I end up getting these super special vital instruments. And even to the point when Recto was presenting them to Rudo, you can tell there was something deeper there. Like, it almost felt like I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing this because I care about you. And I think I might even theorize this. I was like, is Recto one of the angels that flew up to the spear? Because only one angel came back. And so I think it might be a thing of whatever mission they had, which might be in correlation and connection, because the angels might be connected to Zodo. Because we've seen this bunch of the Raiders, but there could be more. The person who's the angel might not even be part of the Raiders. They might just be someone collaborating with Zodo because they have something they're getting out of it too. Kind of like a partner from the shadows type of thing. Who knows? But I'm thinking maybe Recto had reservations that, like, for whatever reason, he latched on to Rudo. And maybe this has something to do with Rudo's dad being like the quote unquote murderer that he was claimed to be. So maybe like Recto did something. Rudo's dad took the fall for it, and because he saw Rudo and the condition he was in, he felt bad, and so he turned his back on everything that they were all about because he came to care about him, even to the point like, hey, these items aren't meant for Rudo, but I give them to him anyway, because I don't know if he thought, maybe he didn't think anything of giving them to Rudo. Like, he knew they would be special and that maybe their power could help Rudo in the end. Maybe there's some correlations with like what happened to Rudo's arms. Like maybe who knows if like Recto like knew something deeper of like these will help you because of whatever happened to your arms. These will help, or just like maybe these will help because these gloves are so special because they're filled with so much power. But that's probably why the other angel killed him and took that book, because that book also has the Watchmen series logo on it. So that's where I'm kind of tying this all in, where I'm like, that's probably how Zodiel knows how to do it. Because I'm wondering, like, were they partners, and then when the angel came back alone, is that when it joined up with Zodiel with the book? Like, right, we were supposed to do something together, but he wouldn't listen to me, and he turned his back on me and whatever we were doing, so I have to find a partner who will see this through. Maybe it's someone that has beef with the spear as well, but it's like, hey, I'm going to give you this book which will teach you, because I'm like, how else would Zodiel know? Like, not unless we find out he's descended. Well, he talks about it like he doesn't know. I was about to say, not unless he's descended from the person who made the Watchmen series. I mean, not unless we find out the angel and or Recto could also be related to the person, like why they had the book in the first place. But it could just be that they found it. But, someone in all of this could be descended from the person who made the Watchmen series in the first place. Throwing out a lot of what ifs and massive speculation and theories here early on. I do apologize, but it's just like, it's kind of got my brain running like an overdrive trying to connect the dots. Like, well, what could this mean? What could this be? Knowing the time frame of things, when certain partnerships and went down, I think would probably clear up a little bit. Because I'm also wondering, because obviously Alma was in the tower for a while, and that was the only time she saw the angels. And obviously, I forgot how long she said it was between when the angel finally returned, and I think that probably would have been around the time Rudo got thrown into the pit. Would have been around that time. But it was some time later. I think they told you. Maybe they didn't go into full detail, but I think they did give some vague time frame. I just can't remember. It's been a while. That time frame would kind of maybe clear up some things time frame wise. Maybe not, because there's still just so much of the time frame in general across all these events. Like, we don't fully know when everything went down. So that even knowing how long ago, the time frame wouldn't give us a clear answer, because there's so much time that's so vague about when stuff happens. So another very important thing Zodiel brought up was that basically the Watchmen series basically lead their users to going mad. Doesn't seem like that's the case with Amo, Zodiel, or Rudo. But he says something specifically about the fact is, because Rudo's had his weapon, he's had the gloves for a very long time, but he's never gone mad. And Zodiel was like, well, that's also probably because we lost our humanity. And it's like, well, Rudo has always struggled with connecting with people and kind of giving into his anger. So there's something there. And I'm assuming, they're setting it up to be him and Rudo are two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. He's kind of made that clear. The ending to the episodes kind of, make that clear as well, that there's some parallel there. But I wonder if that's supposed to be the case with Amo, because I think he had specifically said like it's when someone who basically, what was it? Someone who has everything that they want. That's when the boots will drive you crazy. So I mean the items will drive you crazy. So for the guy who Amo's captor, like he went crazy because of the boots. But like in Amo circumstances, it's like being abandoned and abused. But like the boots. I don't know if you can make the argument maybe the boot because she was missing something on the inside and the boots kind of filled that. Just like for Rudo, the gloves kind of did a similar thing, but that's not the same thing as having everything you like want, kind of those desires kind of met. Like that's not the same thing. So that's why like Amo's kind of out there-ness is more like the environment that kind of forced her into that rather than the boots. Maybe the boots added more fuel to the fire, but they weren't like the initial cause. Whereas it seems like with her captor, it's an abuser. It feels like, based on what Zoto's saying, it kind of seems like it contributed probably heavily into his descent into madness. And Zodil wanting to be the person who has all the items, because it's like, right, someone once wore all of these. I want to be that person too, because it's going to help him with his goal. I guess for whatever reason, burning the spear to the ground, or rather bringing it to the ground, and maybe that has something to do with his upbringing here on the ground, of maybe the spear being what it is. I mean, he talked about the religious cults, so I'm wondering, did he belong to the ones that kind of prayed to the trash and would even let it fall and kill them? We touched on that, was it a couple episodes back, maybe 2 or 3 episodes back. So I'm wondering, could he stem from something like that, and that helps with his resentment towards the spear and everything it represents? I'd assume he would need all 3 Watchmen series items as a power source, because I was thinking it's interesting is that you're not sacrificing, but you're using Amo's boots. But I'm curious, like, why haven't you used your your coat, sorry. I wonder, has he tried it and it just isn't enough? Or does he just not want to take the chance of like, I'm not going to get rid of my vital instrument. I'll take these other Watchmen series and utilize them as well. I mean, that's probably why he was hoping Rudo would join him, because Rudo would willingly help him. But it's like he knew he probably couldn't ask Amo for help because she wouldn't. Because he probably knew like she's in her different lane and she probably won't cooperate. But Rudo, yeah, that's just much reason. You don't know my reasons, but I'm just as motivated as you to burn, the spear. So thought like you would agree with him, but you're kind of not. It's like, oh, here I am talking to this petulant child who's just kind of flying by the seat of his pants. It's like, if only the gloves were in someone else's more capable hands, but it's like, fine, kind of hinting that like, well, if that's how it's going to be, I'm just going to take the gloves and do what I need to do. But the thing is, they're flying in this flying trash beast, and the plan is, we'll see how this goes. Like, Zodil's taking a gamble because maybe he has some idea, maybe he doesn't, but we still don't know what the criteria is that allows people to pass through that border, that threshold. Because he's even saying like, yeah, we'll all go through, and maybe some of us will survive, some of us won't. We know for a fact Rudo will survive. Anyone else, Zodil's, I think, willing to take that gamble. Maybe because he's confident that it's all going to work out, or maybe the trash beast itself, being as special as it is, will be the means that allows them to break through the barrier so they won't have to worry about it. Unclear. So that's extra motivation to shut this shit down, because anyone caught in this trash beast as it makes its ascent to the spear will most likely get killed by the border. So this is all a giant experiment. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, back to the drawing board type of situation, I guess. But and that's why I'm sure he's also like, hey, let's bring in the cleaners to also feed their vital instruments to the beast and see how this all plays out. Obviously, the environment starts shaking, and Engine's kind of thinking to himself, oh my god, what's going on, and Fu's freaking out because he's like, no, we're kind of moving ahead of schedule. It's just kind of the boss's way to kind of force me to kind of get things done quicker. And Fu's still begging Engine for a fight, but Engine's like, nah, I'm good, and keeps walking. And Fu's like, no, you can't just do that. And he's begging. He's like, please, that's why I told you to hit me first. And you turned it, like, I love the camera facing Engine. He's making a goofy face because I think that's him laughing and trying to hold it back in, because Fu is literally having a manic breakdown about, like, yo, you have to hit me, we have to fight, and Engine's like, well, sorry, like, I'm trying to find my team and get out of here, so I would probably have to know all about that first, about where we are first, before we get. He's like, we're inside of a trash beast, and the fact of the matter is you'd probably be able to punch through one of these walls with your vital instrument and go further. And then Engine's face like, what? Kind of finding out they're in the trash beast. And Fu's like, cool, now that I've told you, we're gonna fight, right? And he's like, nah. And I'm like, love that, like, poor Fu. At the same time, we go back to Bundus and Bro Santa and Dear Santa, and I love that, like, things start shaking, and then Bro Santa sees Dear Santa, like, getting agitated. He's like, oh my god, you're so agitated, you're actually starting to cause a natural disaster. And Bundus is almost like, are you a fucking idiot? Like, what are you talking about? Is that what are you really thinking that? It's like, oh, we're inside of a trash beast, and it's like, what? But then, like, that sparked something in all of them, because at the same time this was all going down, the other member of Child, the moment they heard Zodo bring up, we're in a trash beast, they started acting up. They're like, whoa, that's crazy, we're in a trash beast, that's awesome. I was like, are you just that obsessed with trash beast? And it's not till Engine points it out. I was like, of course. It's like, they've expressed, the point is, that's the difference between the Cleaners and the Raiders. The Raiders are better at fighting people because they have that experience. The Cleaners don't. Some of them probably more so than others, but typically they don't fight. Their priority and their specialty is dealing with trash beasts. I'm like, that's why that member from Child was, like, getting super hyped, because it's like, a trash beast is something I can do something about. She's probably freaked out by all the people because she's like, I've never fought people before, so I don't know how to deal with that. But trash beast? Oh, hell yeah, we can do something about that. So it motivates her, Engine, and Bro Santa and Dear Santa, and Bro Santa and Dear Santa activate their vital instruments and are ready to kind of tussle. And because there were some questions asked about, like, just because it's special, it's like, oh yeah, like, why don't we need our, like, mask or anything in here? It's like, the air in here is pretty good, and it's like, something. I think that is important to kind of note. I think the changes that have been made to this trash beast has kind of cleared up the, like, toxicity of the environment, but I think that might be something that might be a key factor later on. Maybe it has something to do with could it have something to do with the Watchmen series? It's like, no, considering Almost Boot was only just used now, so it couldn't be that. So this environment being what it is predates that, so it has to be just maybe all the vital instruments. Maybe this thing is devoured, has kind of, and maybe a vital instrument being at its core changes the environment, because these are man-made, accidental may they be, they're still man-made trash beasts versus the naturally, like, born ones here, through the environment naturally. But then we finally see Bro Santa and Dear Santa's whole thing, and I love Bro Santa, like, his is a headband, and obviously Dear Santa's is the pacifier, but he wraps it around, and turns into a longer cloth, wraps it around Dear Santa, and throws him and sends him flying like a torpedo. I'm like, what's going to happen? Even Buttons is like, oh my god, he's going to break through the wall, and he goes to the wall, and I love the little, like, very, like, nice sound effect of his fist hitting, and I love as he's slowly falling down, he's punching the wall more and more, and even Bundus is like, what are you doing? He's like, the fact of the matter is, I get you want to help out a child and everything, but he's like, there's a point where you basically have to face reality. But then, like, what was Bro's, like, rebuttal is kind of like, it's also up to a parent or whatever to kind of, I forgot the exact wording, but it was almost kind of like to give a child free reign to kind of believe. But he's also like, yeah, you might want to listen a little closer. And I was like, does his power have something to do with sound or something? And it turns out his power is drained. Every time Dear Santa hits something, he absorbs its power. And so as he's falling, he's absorbing more and more from the wall as he's making impact with it, and he's cracking it more and more. So I was like, oh, is it almost supposed to be in a similar vein as kind of like a kinetic absorption type of ability? It seems like it. And so the final shot is him like powering up from everything and punching the wall and getting a massive to be continued at the end, which is kind of interesting. We haven't ever gotten one of those before. So I thought that was nice, especially how that was stylized too, especially because the screen is cracked from it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I also find out like what the girl in the onesie, like what her whole shtick ends up being and how she plans on like operating during that fight. Once again, she's going to be more so focusing on, hey, this is a trash beast, so yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this all shakes up and plays out. We still don't know about like the backup. How are maybe someone that's on the cleaner side will have like some means of tracking them, because I'm like, how would the backup probably won't show up until the very, very end, but I'm like, how would the backup even begin to find them potentially, you know? I'm so excited to see what the next episode has in store for us with potential, things heading forward, maybe potentially getting even more answers to all of these questions. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.